Hi friends, welcome to vlog 22, and this is the vlog with many finished objects. Let's see, many finished objects, no new cast on, some samples that other people had made for me, and I'm going to tell you all about it. My name is Linda. I live in Nijkerk in the Netherlands. I'm also known as Wol Hobby, and I have a web shop in hand-dyed yarn, patterns and knitting notions and knitting needles, www.wolhobby.nl. And I'm married to Rob. He is also known as Wol Robbie because he supports me in everything there needs to be done for Wol Hobby. And we have 3 children, Lars who is 27, Sven who is 25 and Kirsi who is 20. And they all moved out, but they do spend time here very often, which is always a lot of fun. I made a list for show notes. Hey, I made a list for show notes. What do you know? She is learning. And the first finished object today is one that has already been gifted. I will put a picture up here. It is my zonnig that I knitted during the Lent, and I finished it just a day before Easter, I think, 2 days before Easter, and then I recorded the last instruction videos, and I washed and blocked it, and I also made an instruction video about that. And then my daughter Kirsi had a baptism of a colleague on Easter. So we decided that it would be a lovely gift for her colleague because of her baptism. So hence why I don't have it anymore. Then I did have it in rotation, but I did not knit on it very much because I will tell you after this, I finished my daughter's sweater. So that got much love. My Aurora cabin shawl by Stephen West. It did grow just a little. The stitch marker is here. So just a few rows. And this will go back in rotation now because I do want to finish it before I have my first fair this year or this spring. I'm moving the stitch marker, but well, it's ambitious because it's a giant shawl and I have no clue if I will be able to finish it in time. But if I don't, no problem. But if I don't knit on it, it will most certainly not be finished. So this is going back into active rotation, and I'm really looking forward to knit on this again because it is a lovely pattern. It's in my Emma Ball bag with my Emma Ball pin here, and it's a lovely big bag, and all my yarns are in here as well. So, the Aurora cabin shawl. Next up is the Luna sweater that I knit for Kirsi. And here it is. She left it with me. Look at the lovely shoulder detail and the lovely detail at the end of the sleeve. Super easy to make this. it does curl a bit, so I really need to block it. And she left it with me because she is usually away for the week, but now she will return on Monday because there is a big fair event in the center of Nijkerk where we live, and she's going to go there, so she will be back on Monday. So I'm going to try to block it before she returns. I did enjoy the knit by itself. I did not enjoy the yarn very much because it is like an I-cord structure, and you need to be careful that you don't split your yarn. But the knit is really relaxing, it's really nice to do, and she looks gorgeous in it. I will put some pictures up here. The Luna sweater by Knits for Days. Yes. Then I have finished the Big Sven Vlogger socks. I dyed up yarn for the Big Sven Vlogger for my son, who has a YouTube channel as well, and I knit him a pair of socks on my merino bamboo base. And but when they were finished, he wanted to wear them right away, of course. So I will put a picture up here, and I will link to my Ravelry project page once that is all finished, and once I have done that admin. Then I have had in rotation my String of Light socks by Sock Witchery, a lovely, lovely, easy to remember pattern. You can see all my stitch markers here because I put them in every 10 rounds, and here is a special one because I need to start the heel there. And I finished the first one, and this is in Blue Moon Fiber Art in their Colossal Sock. And Colossal Socks, a Colossal Sock has 600 yards on 150 grams, and the colorway is 10 Lords a Leaping, and this was my Christmas Eve cast on last year. And I had a lot of time in the car. I had an Inner Wheel Friendship Day, and we were in the theater, or in the meeting center, the auditorium. Yes, we were in the auditorium. All the other words are correct as well, but we were in the auditorium for the entire morning. I couldn't attend the afternoon program, but during the morning I have been knitting on my sock while listening to all the speakers, and I managed to get this done during the morning. And the meeting was in one of the prettiest zoos in the Netherlands, and I am not particularly fan of a zoo because of the captivity of animals. On the other hand, they have a very, very beautiful zoo with as much living space for the animals, and they try to mimic the natural habitats and way of living as good as possible, and it is an awesome zoo to visit. It really is. I didn't have time to visit the zoo because I was at the meeting center in the auditorium, but one of the speakers did tell that he had visited the zoo many times with his children and also by himself sometimes. And he said, I have been coming here for over 10 years. This zoo was founded in 1913, I think, and it's a family business. And he was telling that he recently learned that if you walk through the Burgers bush, that is a certain area in the zoo which simulates tropical rainforest. And he said if you are in the middle of the bush, there is a bridge, and if you are standing on that bridge, on one side of the bridge there is a big rope, and there are ants. I don't know the English word, but if I would translate the Dutch name, they would we would call them leaf cutter ants. I don't know if it's translated exactly, but I will put in a tiny clip of the rope with the ants, and then you get why they are called leaf cutter ants. But I showed the clip to my sister, and pay attention to the last ant you see in this clip, because he carries a chicken around. Ain't it cool? I love it. And even though they're ants and they're just tiny, I could really watch this for a long time. Fascinating. We also had a recital of a trio. There was one woman playing, is it just called harp? Or is it something else in English? Let me just check for a second. Yeah, I think so, a harpist, right? That's the correct word. Let me check. Yes, harp. One woman was playing the harp, and the other two were sopranos, and they were awesome. I will put in a tiny clip as well. Very famous part. So that was all because I wanted to tell about my string of light socks, which live in my Dutch wool diva bag with the wool hobby buttons. And this will only be worked on when I am riding along with someone, or maybe a meeting or a telephone call or something. This is my tiny project for the road. Oh, I forgot to put in the tag. Well, I will do that after I finished. I have a new phone, and it has Face ID, which is so much fun. But I don't know how to switch between different apps yet, so I'm going to go back to my notes We did the Zonnig, the Aurora cabin shawl, the Luna sweater, the Big Sven vlogger socks and the string of lights. Yes, we did all that. And we did not talk about my love note yet. And here it is. I just split for the sleeves, so the lace part is done. And this is living in my Breien Blij Happy Knitting bag that was made by Liane, and she gifted it to me recently. And it's living in a big bag like that because I am using Holst Super Soft in the coffee colorway, and I am combining that with a fluff. I don't know which one, but you can always go and check my Ravelry page because it will be there. Anyway, so the neckband will be knitted later, so there is the stitches are on a cable here. The sleeves are on some knitting cords, and I am going to look. Here was the stitch marker, and I will move that up now because new week, new possibilities, so that we can check the progress, because this will stay in active rotation. But I started my love note because of the hashtag Winterklaar breien maar, which means knit and be ready for winter. The idea is that you pick a pattern for a sweater, you divide that in 10 equal parts, and then every month from February until November you knit 1/10 of the pattern, so that your sweater will be ready once December is here. But I do enjoy knitting on this, so I won't promise that I'm going to save it to do a 10th each month. On the other hand, sometimes you spend a ton of work on one project and then it will be in hibernation for several weeks or even months. So we will just see if it's finished by December or earlier or not, or whatever. Then I have had, I have another finished object. My Sophie scarf. Here it is. This is a pattern by Petite Knit, and I knitted it in my Where's My Martini colorway on the merino base. And the Sophie scarf is meant to wear like this. This is the bigger size, and when I finished it I came to the conclusion that it looks ridiculous on me. But that's okay. You can imagine that this wasn't a lot of work. I weighed my scarf, and it took 31 grams to knit this, and it's a super easy pattern. This is the largest size. The shortest size is really to wear like this, and then the ends will be shorter, of course. They will be up here, and I might like that better, so I might make myself a smaller one or not. We will just see. Kirsi asked me to knit one in the yarn that I used for her Luna sweater, which is Drops Sky, an alpaca blend. And we bought 6 skeins and we only used 3. I had this tiny bit left when I finished her shawl, her sweater. So I could make a ton of Sophie scarves. But I will try to see how it looks, because it might not be the best yarn choice for that particular project, but we will see. I can just cast on and knit something like this to see how we like it. Otherwise, we could use... Siri wanted to say something as well. So we will see how the drop sky will look in the Sophie scarf. Then I have some samples to show you. I wanted to have some crochet samples for my booth at festivals and shows, and one of the crocheters from the Wool Hobby group crocheted this lovely shawl. I absolutely love how the yarn and how the colors are working out in this shawl. This one is knitted by Anita, and she also knitted this one for me in my kind of fluorescent colorway. I'm going to block this one because I think it will grow a little, and I think it will be even prettier once blocked, but she didn't have the time to do that before we saw each other. So that will be on the blocking mats later this week. That one was also knitted by Anita, crocheted. Then I have a pair of mica socks knitted by Marina. This is my pattern and my yarn. So this is just a sample for shows. And then Elma knitted this shawl, crocheted this shawl for me, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous too. So I wanted to have some sample crocheters because I simply can't knit and crochet, an entire festival booth sample all by myself, and not even if my sister is helping me. So hence I asked for help. I also had Will and Tamara crocheting for me, but I showed those already in my 40 vlogs for Zonnig. Back in rotation for my easy peasy knit is my anthology throw, and this is an awesome pattern for if you are watching TV or podcasts or whatever. This is really nice, but the stitch marker is still on the first row, so I have not been knitting on this in the past few weeks, but with all these finished objects, this will most certainly go back in rotation. And this is for those moments that you can use a mindless knit and you just want to process your knitting. I'm also going to take in rotation. It's in this bag and it has not been out for quite some time. But I'm going to start working again on my fox paws by Xandy Peters. And I won this yarn in a Knit Companion knit along, and I was the winner of that quarter, I think. I can't remember exactly. But you get a listing of all the prizes available, and then you get to pick your own prize, which is really exciting. So I picked a very generous package of Shetland, New England Shetland yarn in these 5 colorways. So this is Hyacinth. Here we have Magenta, Poppy, Sandalwood and Iris. So I'm going to take this back in rotation for those moments that you can pay attention to your knitting, because this is not my TV knitting. Some people might have no problem with it whatsoever, but this is not my TV knitting. I need to pay a little attention. It's quite heavy on the hands because you work with these stacked stitches, and I would not recommend knitting this on bamboo or wooden needles. You really do need sturdy needles that won't break easily. I don't think this is the needle that belongs in here. I probably took it out at some point to use it in another project and put these in. These are my Knit Pro Zincs 2.5 millimeters. So I'm going to check on my Ravelry page or in my Knit Companion, and I hope that I noted the needle size. I think I did. So this is going back into rotation for certain moments that I can knit on this. I need to put in a stitch marker in this one, something that stands out. Yes, I'm going to leave it out, and I'm going to do that in a minute. Then I would like to promote a podcast this time, so not a vlog. I would like to promote the Yarniacs podcast. The Yarniacs are Gail and Charlene. They both live in California, and their podcast is accessible via Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and probably other platforms as well, which I don't use, so I don't know. But they tell all about their knitting adventures, what they are stalking, what they finished, different kinds of yarns, different, all the patterns they are trying out, what they think of a pattern, the pros and the cons, and they are really nice to listen to. And I believe they have a new podcast each week. I'm not entirely sure, but if you would like to have something to listen to while knitting, or if you are like me, I have these moments that I don't want to leave my knitting bubble, but I do need to go places. So I listen to them while driving, and they are a lot of fun. So go check them out. That's my tip for this week. I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my finished objects, the projects that I'm working on, and I hope you enjoyed watching my vlog. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up, because that helps to get the word out about this podcast, about this vlog, and reach more knitters. So please do so, and I wish you happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye!